Hey there, welcome back to the Live Decoder. So, let me ask you something. Have you ever had one of those moments where your partner leaves their socks on the floor again, and suddenly you feel this wave of irritation washing over you? Like it's just a sock, right? But somehow it feels like the end of the world? Yeah, we've all been there. Today, we're diving into something we all experience, but rarely talk about honestly: irritation and criticism in relationships. Why do tiny things drive us crazy? Why does criticism sting so much? And most importantly, how do we handle it without turning our living room into a battlefield? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just save yourself from the next thermostat war. All right, let's start with the basics. Why do we get irritated by the people we love most? Think about it. Your partner leaves dishes in the sink. They forget to text you back. They leave the TV on when they leave the room. Or, and this one's a classic, they adjust the thermostat without asking. I mean, 68 degrees is clearly the correct temperature, right? Here's the thing. These are tiny, insignificant habits, but somehow they can send us into a spiral of frustration. Why? Well, our brains are wired with something called negativity bias. Basically, we're programmed to notice negative things more than positive ones. It's an evolutionary thing. Our ancestors needed to spot danger fast to survive. A rustling bush could mean a predator, so noticing threats kept them alive. Fast forward to today, and that same brain is still on high alert, except now the threat is a coffee mug left on the counter. Not exactly life or death, but your brain treats it like it is. And here's where it gets interesting. The people closest to us, our partners, spouses, family, can trigger old emotional patterns we developed in childhood. Maybe your parent was dismissive when you needed attention. Now, when your partner forgets to reply to your text, it doesn't just feel annoying, it feels like rejection. See, irritation often isn't really about them. It's about our expectations, our wounds, and our personal sensitivities colliding with their imperfect humanness. And let's be real, nobody's perfect. Not them, not you, not me. Let me paint you a picture. You've had a long day at work. You come home exhausted, and all you want to do is collapse on the couch and watch Netflix. But then you see it. The trash is overflowing, and it was their turn to take it out. Suddenly, you're not just annoyed about the trash. You're annoyed about everything. The dishes, the laundry, that time 2 weeks ago when they said they'd fix the leaky faucet? Or how about this one? You're trying to sleep and your partner is scrolling through their phone at full brightness, laughing at TikToks. Like, buddy, it's 1 a.m. Can we not? Or the classic thermostat debate. One person's comfortable is another person's Arctic tundra. You walk into the living room and it's suddenly 62 degrees because it's too hot. Yeah, sure, totally reasonable. But here's the truth. These little irritations pile up. One sock on the floor, no big deal. 5 days of socks, now we're having a conversation. And if we're not careful, that conversation turns into a fight. Now, let's talk about criticism. Because irritation is one thing, but criticism, that's a whole different beast. Criticism cuts deeper because it attacks our sense of self. It makes us feel like we're not good enough. And when it comes from someone we love, it stings even more. Let me give you an example. Imagine your partner says, "You're always late. You never care about my time." Versus, "Hey, I feel stressed when we're running late. Can we try to leave a bit earlier next time?" See the difference? The first one attacks the person. It's accusatory. It uses words like always and never, which make the other person feel like they're fundamentally flawed. The second one expresses a feeling and a need. It's not about blame, it's about connection. Criticism feels like rejection. It threatens the closeness we crave. And when we feel criticized, our brain goes into defense mode. We shut down, or we snap back, or we bring up something they did wrong 3 months ago. Sound familiar? The problem is, most arguments don't start from big, earth-shattering problems. They start from tiny critiques that pile up over time. One comment about loading the dishwasher wrong, another about how they chew too loud, another about leaving lights on. And before you know it, you're not arguing about the dishes anymore. You're arguing about respect, effort, and whether they even care. So, why do we react so strongly? Why does a simple comment feel like a nuclear bomb? When we're criticized, our brain activates the same regions associated with physical pain. Yep, emotional pain and physical pain light up the same areas in MRI scans. So when your partner says something hurtful, your brain genuinely feels like you've been wounded. And here's another layer. If you grew up in an environment where criticism was constant, maybe a parent who nitpicked everything, you're more sensitive to it now. Your nervous system is on high alert, ready to defend against any perceived attack. So, it's not that you're overreacting. Your brain is just trying to protect you from something that once felt dangerous. All right, enough with the doom and gloom. Let's talk about solutions. How do we stop tiny irritations from turning into relationship disasters? First, pause. Seriously, just breathe. When you feel that irritation rising, don't immediately react. Give yourself 10 seconds. Take a breath. Let the emotion pass through you instead of controlling you. I know, easier said than done, but it works. Second, reframe your thoughts. Instead of thinking, they never help around the house, try, they've been really busy this week and they usually do help. It's like giving your brain a software update. Instead of running the everything is terrible program, you're running the let's be fair program. Third, focus on positives. For every one thing that annoys you, remind yourself of 3 things you love about your partner. Maybe they're forgetful, but they also make you laugh. Maybe they leave dishes in the sink, but they also surprise you with coffee in the morning. Nobody's keeping score, but if you were, make sure you're counting the good stuff too. And finally, practice a little self-irony. You're not perfect either. You leave the bathroom light on. You forget to reply to texts. You have weird habits too. So maybe, just maybe, you can let the toothpaste cap slide this time. Expressing concerns effectively. Now, let's say you do need to bring something up. How do you do it without starting World War III? The golden rule: use I messages. Instead of saying, you never clean up after yourself, try, I feel overwhelmed when the kitchen is messy because I need a tidy space to relax. Notice the difference? You're not attacking them, you're sharing your experience. You're making it about your feelings and needs, not their failures. And here's the thing, timing matters. Don't bring up a sensitive topic when you're already in the middle of an argument. Wait for a calm moment. Sit down together. Make it a conversation, not a confrontation. Maybe even start with something positive. Hey, I really appreciate how hard you've been working. I also wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind. It's not manipulation. It's just setting the stage for a productive talk instead of a defensive one. And be specific. Don't say, you're messy. Say, I noticed the dishes have been piling up this week. Can we figure out a system that works for both of us? Give them a chance to respond. Listen. Don't interrupt. Don't defend. Just hear them out. I know. This all sounds a little awkward at first, but that's okay. You're learning a new skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. When criticism is constant, now, let's address the elephant in the room. What if the criticism isn't occasional? What if it's constant? If your partner criticizes you all the time about how you look, how you talk, what you do, that's not irritation. That's something else. That's a pattern. And patterns like that can be harmful. Healthy relationships have room for feedback, but they're also built on respect and appreciation. If you feel like you're walking on eggshells or like nothing you do is ever good enough, that's worth looking at more closely. Maybe it's time for a deeper conversation. Maybe it's time for couples counseling. And if things don't improve, it might be time to reassess the relationship altogether. You deserve to be with someone who sees your strengths, not just your flaws. Final thoughts. So here's the bottom line. Irritation and criticism in relationships are inevitable. You're two different people with different habits, different upbringings, different sensitivities. Of course, you're going to clash sometimes. But those clashes don't have to be destructive. With a little awareness, a little patience, and a lot of honest communication, you can turn irritation into understanding and criticism into connection. The trick is noticing your feelings before they explode, pausing before you speak, choosing curiosity over judgment. And maybe, just maybe, letting the thermostat thing go. Because at the end of the day, love isn't about finding someone who never annoys you. It's about finding someone worth being patient with, someone who's willing to grow with you, someone who sees you, flaws and all, and chooses to stay. And that's pretty beautiful if you ask me.
All right, now I want to hear from you. What's the one thing your partner does that drives you absolutely crazy? Is it leaving the lights on, forgetting to refill the Brita, hogging the blankets? Drop a comment below, I'm genuinely curious. And who knows, maybe we'll do a follow-up video with the funniest answers. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We talk about all kinds of real-life psychology stuff here at The Live Decoder. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.